Hello and welcome once again to Quarterlight. Today we're going to be looking at a small Italian classic car, sometimes referred to as the baby Ferrari. Yes, it's the mid-engined Fiat X1. In 1969, Autobianchi released a concept car styled by Bertone under the chief designer Marcello Gandini. And that's really where this story begins. Although this concept car didn't actually have a windscreen and really looked more like a speedboat than a car. In 1972, the car itself was revealed, with that windscreen now added a little bit more practicality, of course. It was to replace the now aging Fiat 850 Spider. In 1974, it arrived in the US, where in fact 2/3 of total Fiat X1 sales happen to be. I sometimes find this a little bit surprising, as the Fiat X1 was really at its best on winding country roads, where you could do 40 miles per hour and feel like you was doing 140 miles per hour. Those straight, long highways in North America weren't best suited to sports cars, but Americans did like their European sports cars. The MGs, the Austin Healey's, and later on the Mazda MX-5s also sold in great numbers. In 1979, the next big change happened when the 1300cc engine was replaced with a 1500cc with a 5-speed gearbox. And that's where the story of these brochures will begin. So let's have a look at them now. This is the new X1 as it says on the brochure. This brochure is actually from 1979, so this is when that 1500 with the 5-speed gearbox was first launched to replace that smaller 1300cc engine and 4-speed gearbox that came out of a Fiat 128. This particular brochure is a North American brochure, but as we'll see, it is the same. So we'll open that now. So here it is, once again, talking about that 5-speed gearbox and 1500cc engine, showing a top speed of 112 miles per hour. A very similar interior design, although some updates on this model. These very sort of typical Fiat Stokes. But one thing is a little bit unusual is this strange gear lever. It's kind of more like a square design. It looks very stylish and it shows the gears on there, but I can't imagine it being a very nice lever to use. But very Italian, I think, more design over form in that particular case. But there we have it anyway, that's what they decided to do. So here it is, it's a fold out style brochure on this one. Now if you notice on this, there was these large American style bumpers on here. Now this isn't just because it's a North American brochure. Once this came out in 1979, they went for this larger brochure. They found it was easier just to stick that bumper on all the models. So after this, the new larger bumper came in all models. All 1500s had that larger US bumper. Previous to that, it was a much more stylish small chrome bumper. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't really mind it. Some American bumpers look horrendous on European cars, but here it's not too bad, I don't think. Again, it's talking about the new engine and new gearbox, high performance of 112 miles per hour, the removable roof, telling you about the 2 luggage departments as we've talked about, a new interior and options and colours. Now it is saying in this brochure that there is a choice of 10 colours, which I think is quite remarkable for such a small car. I don't remember 10 different colours. Certainly blues and reds and whites I've seen, but I don't remember 10 colours. I'm going to have to try and get a colour chart for this brochure, and I'm also going to have to get an earlier one showing that 1300cc engine. So there may be another video at a later date adding those details in. So let's have a look at the final page of this particular brochure. So here we are, this is the final page. It shows the specifications and a nice view of the rear of that car. Again, showing this large American style bumper that was much smaller on the 1300. But I still think it's a very nicely proportioned and stylish small car. And considering it came out in 1972, I do think that design was very advanced. So we'll look at another brochure and we'll do some comparisons, because the next brochure is kind of at the end of the Fiat X1 run. Okay, so this is the next brochure we're going to look at today, a later Fiat X1, although it does look very similar, if not identical. In 1982, Fiat killed off the design after 10 years of production. Basically, they said 10 years was enough for that model, and they gave all the rights to Bertone. Previously, Bertone built the bodies, then sent them off to Fiat to do all the mechanicals. Now, Bertone are building the entire car. Some people actually say they did a better job than Fiat and they're built a little bit better. I don't know if that's true or not. Possibly a little bit controversial, to be honest with you, but certainly some people do claim that. This particular brochure is right at the end of the Fiat X1 run. They built them until 1989. I think this is actually a 1988 brochure. One of the changes on that, I don't know if you notice, this is now a Bertone badge. There isn't any Fiat badging on this one at all. So let's open it up and I'll look if we can see what changes there may be. So here it is, the new, well, we should really call it the Bertone X1 by this stage. As you see, changes to the seats. They've also, on this particular model, they've actually got a colour coded on top of the engine instead of the black. This is actually a UK brochure and we'll show you that at the end, but as you notice, it's still got these American style bumpers on there. And also, I don't know if you can see that unusual square gearbox has been replaced for a much more conventional unit, which I'm sure is a lot nicer to use. On this side, it's also showing the pop-up headlights, the removable hardtop, and other little features on there as well. We're still using that 1500cc engine right to the end. It's got 85 brake horsepower, which sounds extremely small by today's standard, which is why I think it was better suited to twisty country roads rather than American highways. But there we go, they did sell more of them over there. And also it does claim that it can do 47.2 miles per gallon, which makes it quite a practical little car for one or two people. It is also showing on there a maximum speed of 108 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 time of 9.9 seconds. But like I say, I'm sure that feels much quicker than that. So let's have a look on the back page. So there we have it, the two brochures back to back. This earlier car had this, it's hard to see, there's a Fiat badge was actually here and at the front as well, where now it was replaced with this Bertone badge. So there we have it, the Fiat X19, or a Bertone X19 if you prefer. A great car, possibly a little bit ahead of its time when it came out in 1972, but certainly by 1989 it was a very elderly design, and certainly behind the Toyota MR2, although like I say, I don't think the Toyota MR2 would have even existed if this car hadn't come out. Once again, thank you for watching Quarterlight today. Please do like and subscribe, and we'll have more reviews and brochures in the near future. I'm going for a nice cup of tea now, so I'll put the kettle on. You take care. Goodbye.